Although I am a licensed clinician, I'm also just a person. I love to be able to be in my real life and speak from that point. And that's where this podcast is coming from. So enjoy.
Searching for truth, looking for answers. There must be a way to another day.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Keanvenient Truth. I'm Aaliyah.
And I'm Joe.
So it's cold, which is why I'm in my hat and scarf. And it's like usually I'm not like it doesn't affect me much, but because there's no sun out, the sky is just like this like gray blah sky, and it's just like it's freezing.
It's cold today.
Yeah. So anywho, I would like to start with just saying that I've recently been watching this show. Which Joe hates when I start that way. He highly dislikes it. But I've recently been watching this show, and I think I'm one of the last people who like to even start watching it because it's now on its second season. But Severance, people. OMG. Oh my gosh, that show is so intense, so amazing. Every episode is so great. It's so great. But this is the concept really quick, and you tell me if you would do this, okay? The concept really quick is that they live in this world, right? Where there's this organization, this company called Lumen. And at Lumen, they do this thing called severance. And severance basically means that they wipe away your memory. So basically, when you're at work, it's called tethered or something like that. When you're at work, you have no idea what your life is outside of work. You have no memory of it, no nothing. All you know is what you're at work. But then you go in the elevator, and as you're going down, something happens to this chip you have in your head. And then once you walk out the elevator, you're back in the outside life, but you don't remember anything from work.
I don't think anybody would do that.
So interesting is that people, right, obviously in the show, for example, this one guy, the main guy, he did it because his wife died and he didn't want to have to keep always thinking about her a lot, all throughout the day. So he decided to do it so that he can spend his time at work and not be thinking about the fact that his wife is dead and have no memory of it when he's at work. But then he has memory of it the minute he leaves and goes home.
Okay.
So it's for 8 hours, he's got no memory of.
I mean, this sounds to me like extreme escapism. We have a culture of escapism now, whether it's drugs or alcohol or TV or your phone or whatever is distracting you from being a better person and pushing yourself to the next level of understanding or whatever it is a distraction and escapism, really. So that is okay, it's for the people that really love getting out of their heads to not think about work or not think about their lives.
Yeah,
that would be the next step, I guess.
That would
is
be the next step.
Let's get a chip implanted in my head, or let's fucking give me some drug that really makes Wipes me not remember anything. That's to me that's insane, because what's the purpose of life?
Right. And so that's this whole show is so the people who, let's say, work at this company, Lumen, right? When people in the regular world, let's say, know that they work there, it's a very it's a thing where people are oh, you work there? It's
it's the only place that does it?
Yeah. It's the only place.
And everybody knows that they do that?
Everyone knows that that's what the whole thing is. You get severed and you have two different versions of you. You have an innie version, which is at work, and an outie version.
What's the purpose? Why is that company specifically? What do they actually do?
So that's what we're trying
nobody
to
because nobody knows what
they show. No one knows what, even they don't know what they really do.
Oh,
even the workers don't know what they really do, and they're right now trying to figure it out.
Oh shit. Maybe that's
because again, so what's happening is that they're figuring stuff out when they're in work, right? But don't forget, when they leave,
They forget about
they
it.
forget about it, but then they're also figuring stuff outside of work. But then when they get to work, they forget about the stuff outside. So now I feel like you have to leave yourself clues, both in and out. And then when you try and like basically like not want to work there, your outie person who's in the real world, right? Who's the person who's in charge of everything. That's the real person, right? The outie person makes the call whether or not they want to resign, but the innie person can't make that call. So if the in person does not want to be there and does not want to work there and wants to fucking leave, they can't.
This is just annoying. Really,
It's
just
really wild.
With all these rules and shit. No,
It's a
fuck that
really
shit.
wild show. It really is. It's like so interesting. And actually, I'm glad that, what's so funny is that I've been watching the show now, and I think I've been so immersed in it that not once did I think to myself, oh, this is just like a really extreme form of escapism. But like, yeah, that's what the show is. It's like a really extreme form of like avoidance, escapism,
Right.
like wanting to literally just have no memory of like.
Right. There's people out there that want that. I don't know
You think?
why. Oh, 100%. 100%.
You have no
My
idea
dad
what-
is one of them, I think. Like it's mostly, I mean, if you want to get into it, I would assume that it's because you're uncomfortable with who you are and the choices you've made in life or whatever the fuck it is.
Or
There's
just the
probably a variety of
circumstances that
things.
you have in life,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
again, this guy did it because his wife died, like.
Right, but okay, his wife died, but really the problem is he's not figuring
Well,
out
he doesn't
coping
wanna
skills of like
But
figuring.
see, but this is the thing though, is that from let's say 5 o'clock when he leaves, right, until 8 o'clock the next morning, he has to cope because you remember the fact that your wife died in the real world.
Right.
So why then would you not just tack on an extra 8 hours of the day and just cope through that 8 hours since you're already going to cope from 5 p.m. to 8 a.m.? You see what I'm
5
saying?
p.m. to 8 a.m. Okay.
Because the minute they leave work until they go back to
you
work,
still got it comes back.
right, you know what happened in your life.
So it's like,
So for only 8 hours
if
a
that's the
day,
only reason, that's stupid.
it's ridiculous.
So you're just avoiding until the 8 hours comes back. And I'm like, oh, here it is again. Do the fucking work and then resolve the problem within your own brain. And then it won't be you'll enjoy living your life. Right. So he could, yeah.
It just makes no sense. So they don't even know if they have families. They know what the situation is inside and out. So like when they're inside, they're like, man, I wonder if I have like kids and stuff. Like they know, and then on the outside, like they know that they work for this place and they know that they signed up for it, but they have no memory of like what happened in there.
Sounds like a dumb show to me.
It's not a dumb show. It's so good. I hope I explained it well. It's such a good show. It's so intense.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was fascinating. Ben Stiller wrote it, directed it.
Oh, but what's his name? The guy from
Adam. No, not Adam.
No, the guy from Parks and Rec, right?
Is he from Parks and Rec?
Yeah.
This is gonna drive me nuts. What's his fucking name again? I see his face, and he always has this like monotone kind of voice, right?
Yeah. Whatever. Somebody that's listening to this right now is like saying his name.
Everyone's Adam Scott. It is Adam. I was thinking Adam Brody, but whatever. Oh, and then Christopher Walken's in it. It's dope. It's a dope cast.
I can't get hooked into any more series or anything. It's just too. Speaking of escapism, it's too much. It's like I already have enough things on my mind that I need to focus on. In fact, that is my new priority as of like a couple weeks ago, is like really trying to find what are my distractions, and I already know why I'm doing it, because I'm avoiding doing the work, meditation, focusing in on myself, doing whatever, executing whatever I need to do during the day. I could do it way more efficiently and faster if I'm not like, oh, I got 5 minutes. Let me look on Twitter or fucking Instagram or something, because that 5 minutes turns into 10 minutes. And then I just wasted time when I could have like just gotten something done and I could have moved on with my life. Anyways, so yeah, I'm really pushing myself to not get into those things unless I choose and I say, okay, I've done everything I needed to do
It's like a
today.
reward. You're
Yes,
rewarding yourself with a treat.
exactly. And if I haven't done all those things, which at this point right now, there's so many fucking things, I should never even look at my Instagram or Twitter or anything. I
Well,
literally shouldn't look at
You're
it.
obsessed with Twitter.
I shouldn't look at it for another like 2 weeks.
It's not
Well,
gonna
that
happen.
yeah, that's a whole other thing. I'm just like freaking every day is something new. So then that's a whole other story.
Yeah. I mean,
But that's what I'm going through now. But
Hmm.
I think it's
I
working as
think
long as
you
I stay
should. I
consistent.
think maybe you need to challenge yourself and do like a Twitter fast for like 5 days.
5 days.
Yeah.
I did for
days.
like 1 day.
Right. So push yourself, do it for 5 days. I recommend that to my patients all the time, especially before they do CAP. They have to go on a 5-day fast, like a 5-day cleanse of all social media, all news, all of
Do you
that.
think they all actually do that?
I hope they do. I know I did.
100%.
I know I did.
Did you do it 100%?
Absolutely. I was too afraid of going in there and having a bad trip. So I was like, if this is going to clear my mind, then like I want to make sure that I go into this ketamine journey with like nothing negative in my head.
Yeah.
So I know I did, but I do think that I feel like the people who I've done it with took it very seriously.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I could do that. You know what? I have this plan. I got a lot going on right now, and
What does that have to do with what is you having a lot to do right now have anything to do with taking a 5-day fast from Twitter?
Yeah, it doesn't. Listen, I just have a plan because when we go on vacation, that's when it's really like I'm slowly implementing things now and getting the mindset right. Because like to just go into it, by the time we go on our vacation, then I've already prepped myself and maybe done 1 day or like started really weaning back. And by the time we get there, then it's like check out, and then when I get back, then it's like I got to keep that consistent, I don't know, we'll see.
Okay.
I can start it now. I just
choose not to. See, that's a choice.
well, no, it's because I will
Who's
say
choosing not to?
there's
That's
an addiction factor here that we're not like weighing in, right? So there is a level of like, oh, I got 2 seconds, let me look, right? And it's just this thing, so I have to like stop myself. I'm working on that part of it.
The
Just
impulsivity.
just stopping myself.
Yeah, the impulse control.
Yeah. So I think that's first, right? Then
Well,
needs
it's
to be
hard
done
too,
first.
right? Because the drug, let's say, which is the Twitter,
Yeah.
and the scrolling and all of that and everything happening so fast, that's the drug. So it's like whenever, let's say, you pick up your phone, see the phone already is a trigger for Twitter.
Yeah.
So the minute the phone is there, it's like for an alcoholic, maybe if they just came out of treatment, going to the bar,
just
or
hanging out at the bar, but not drinking.
Right,
Yeah,
exactly.
Probably not a good idea.
Trigger. So the phone is a trigger. Just even unfortunately, like let's say gambling addicts and people who suffer from, let's say, eating disorders, you need food, and food is around you, and you need money. Money is around you, and well, I guess we don't need a phone, but let's be honest, you do.
Yeah.
And so now you have to base it. Oh, sex addicts, right? Like these are things that, like, unless you're a monk, I guess you can go without it.
Yeah, exactly. And then I think that there's like a balance, but as long as like I'm in control and I make the decisions, and it's not just automatically happening. Like, oh, I go on my phone to look at my calendar, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, I want to check Instagram for a second. That is like some like automated addiction thing. But if I can say, all right, let me look at my calendar and say, and it clicks, it says, look at Twitter real quick. And I'm like, no. And then I put it down, and then I get back to whatever the fuck I was doing. Right. That's what I'm working on this week.
I've been doing that with Instagram. I think that I just go onto Instagram because of just fill moments where I'm not doing anything.
Right. And in those moments, you could be doing like a quick breath work and like,
no, I could actually be getting a lot of fucking work done.
Or getting work done,
because I have like I don't believe I actually do have ADD and ADHD because I always come back around. And when I do, or when I have done stimulants, I get very heightened and not down. So note to people, if you do stimulants and you have ADD, real ADD,
Mm.
a stimulant like, let's say, Coke, is actually not going to perk you up. It's going to like bring you down. You're just going to be like, yeah, I just did Coke. But for anyone who doesn't have ADHD, they do a stimulant and you're like, bing, right? So I would say I have like this like mild, right, form of just like easily distracted.
I mean, that's everybody
Um,
though.
so when I'm at work, it's like I literally like I'll sit there and I mean I'm on like every hour, but if someone cancels, let's say, and I just like, have time to actually get a lot of shit done that I am extremely far behind
You're
on,
avoiding by escapism.
extremely far behind on, I'm like this. I'll look at my phone and I'm like, I guess I'll just see what's going on.
Yeah, it's only gonna take 2 minutes, but then 5, 10
then I
minutes
get
later.
going. And then I tell myself, okay, Leah, stop. Like, let's do something.
Yep.
And then I'll check my text messages. Meanwhile, no one texted me.
Right.
Okay,
Just like
fine.
looking at the phone.
No one texted me. I'm just going back into them, like, oh, who said what? Do I have to respond to anybody? Okay, I guess not. Then I'll check my emails. Then I get back to the computer and I'm like, okay, let me start. And then when I go in to do something, I'm probably only doing it straight for like 5 minutes. And then I stop. And this is why I'm just so bad when it comes to like
You gotta do what I'm doing.
that stuff.
You gotta get
like,
control.
Like doing stuff like that. Like if I could sit down in my chair in my office and talk all day, that's easy for me. I could do that all day. It's the fucking notes. It's the like, now I have
Stuff
to
you don't
like,
wanna do.
now I have to write all this shit down. I don't feel like doing that. I actually have an incredible memory.
You do. You do.
I remember shit that a patient said to me 10 years ago.
Yes.
But whatever, it's so annoying.
Still gotta do it.
It
is what it is. But yeah, it sounds like you need to work on that too, right?
Oh my God,
like,
do I? I know I do. This is why I can't work from home. If I worked from home, it would be 10,000 times more. I already know that.
You guys somehow make like working on your notes and like doing chunks of it like somehow rewarding. Maybe reward yourself with like, do that first, do 15 minutes of notes first, and then you get 5 minutes of Instagram or something, right? And then you're in control of it as opposed to the thing just like calling you. And
yeah, so I do that with like snacks. So like, for example, like I always have a snack at work at 12 o'clock. This is my routine. 12 o'clock, I have a snack. I do not like having the snack before 12. It's part of my like ritual stuff. So at 12 o'clock, I like
you
that
like
snack.
touch the apple
So
twice.
if
and
I
then pick it up.
have, so if I, let's say I have a 10 and my 11 cancels. So now I have from 11 to 12 to actually like get stuff done. Now though, my brain's like, oh, I can have the snack because it's 11 and I'm not doing anything. But then I'm like, no, I can't. It's not 12 yet. So what do I have to
Then
do
you go
to
on
make
Instagram.
sure that I prevent myself from eating this fucking snack before 12? That's when I'm like, okay, I have to do my CEUs and I'll do all the tests that I have to do and stuff like that. And then I'll crush it. And then 12 comes and I'm like,
there you go.
my snack.
So you got to do something like that when it comes to notes too.
I think we're bypassing the fact that this is crazy. What I just said.
I mean, it's so many layers too. Like you can create all your own layers of like distractions and avoidance.
It's wild. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I mean, you got to get to the source. Got to get like, I feel like I'm so close right now that I can feel it. I can see the shifts. Like if I do those things consistently, meditate, execute, focus, then things happen very rapidly. But then I'm like, I did a lot today. I did a lot of executing today. And then I'm like, oh, I'll just go fuck around on this. And then I don't end up meditating. And You know, it's like, it's a whole thing. So,
you know what I'm wondering, not to cut you off, but now I'm thinking about this more. So I've always thought that my dad had like ADD because he clearly can't hold a conversation. He has to like go somewhere else with it or whatever, right? And he gets distracted. But then now as I'm thinking about it, I actually don't believe he does have ADD. I think that this is a trait that he's picked up, and I think he picked it up as a way to, survive, as a way to, compartmentalize whatever it is. Because again, he grew up in a house with 12 kids,
Mm,
right? All the girls had one room, all the boys had the other room. There was so much chaos and so much shit going on, right? So if you think about that and all the chaos and everything going on, like, your brain has to kind of like be like, there's so many things going on,
mm,
like, so now it makes sense to me that when I speak to him, he can easily like go somewhere else, right? But I also think it's a defense mechanism, or it's a part of him that he doesn't realize is there to actually protect him from, let's say, accessing certain things or going down certain avenues that he doesn't want to go down.
mm.
It just so happens that he raised me. And so I also now am like that. So is my sister. But I don't think none of us have ADD. I think it's just like environmental. And it all started with my dad, just like,
Well, they also say that ADD is like a natural, it's almost like an instinct that's like everybody has it because it's like a survival thing. Like,
well, right, to a certain degree, right? I mean, like, there's like real
because
ADD. I
like say
mean,
you're
like,
like
there's like,
walking, like say your caveman days, you're walking around and it's like you're focusing on like hunting, but then you hear something behind you. So then you're like,
you,
is that a
you
tiger?
got to be on it.
Yeah. So like then you got to focus on that. And then
Right.
you get back to I think it's just a natural human tendency, really. Obviously, there are some people that get so distracted on one thing that they don't ever get back to the other thing, and nothing ever gets completed, so that is a problem for sure.
Mm-hmm,
But I
mm-hmm.
mean, being distracted for a short period of time, talking to yourself, saying, okay, that's enough, let's get back on track, go in there, do that, complete that thing,
Right.
then move on to the next thing, that's like, I think, perfectly normal, and everybody has that.
Common. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's common too. But now that I'm thinking more, because what's his name? I think Gabor Mate was talking about how he doesn't really believe that ADD is a real diagnosis,
Mm,
and that he actually believes that ADD comes from and your environment. So basically there was something going on in the environment that triggered your brain to create this ability to distract, to avoid, to whatever it is. And there could have been so many things going on. I have no idea, right?
mm,
But that's basically the gist of what he was saying. And so, therefore, because of that, and because our brains are always there to protect us, and it will protect us in all these different ways, then it created this ability to just whoop, distract, go somewhere else, whoop,
mhm,
distract, go somewhere else, whoop, distract. Because if it's doing that, that means it's not really able to address and go down the actual path,
mm,
which could be a heavy path, too much, too real of a path, to whatever, right?
mm,
So that's what he believes, which I do also believe that that's a big part. I do hear what he's saying with that.
mm.
Absolutely. But then obviously over time, that's your default. So now it's just like who you are,
All right. All right.
you know? But yeah, interesting.
I wanted to switching gears a little bit. I wanted to just read this thing that I did on ChatGPT the other day about sodium
Oh,
and the
you like
yeah,
really buffed up.
totally.
So we're like following the ADD path right now. Okay.
We're just like severing ties from that conversation.
Okay. Jumping to the
Because I
next.
just want to throw this in there, and then I do know that you wanted to get into something else, which I know is going to be a deeper conversation. So I just wanted to get this out of the way.
About sodium.
Yes. So I asked ChatGPT. I said, have there been studies done on sodium intake and irritability and mood? Right.
And I told you this
And
already yesterday before you did it. I was
right.
like, yeah, there is. It's gotta be.
And I was like, if so, give me a short summary and any tips on how to detox from the situation. Right. So it says, yes, studies have examined relationships between sodium intake and mood, including irritability. Research suggests that excessive sodium consumption can contribute to stress, anxiety, and irritability due to its impact on hormones, blood pressure, and brain function. High sodium intake may increase the body's stress response by elevating cortisol
Right.
and adrenaline levels, which can lead to mood disruptions. Additionally, a high sodium diet is often linked to poor gut health, which plays a
OMG.
crucial role in mood regulation. through the gut-brain barrier.
I know I eat way I know I consume a lot of salt. That I know.
Me
And
too.
actually I have been really irritable, like just with you in general, really irritable for the past 2 days. And I know it has nothing to do with my cycle because it's not that time.
Dude, we ate that. We can't eat that fucking pita
Pita bowl,
pita bowling, whatever the fuck
yeah.
that is anymore. It's
So
really
much
good, but it's like,
salt.
dude, it's very salty. And I think that this is why I did this, because I noticed that when I eat salt, I get irritable literally within 15 minutes after I'm done with a meal.
Mm.
And that can last up to 12 to 24 hours later, actually even further, maybe 48 hours sometimes. It lingers on.
It could most likely last though every day if you think about it, because if let's
If
say
you're continuing the sodium intake.
right,
Yeah.
if you're continuing the sodium intake at that level, then this is just now a daily fucking thing.
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, I just recognize it once again. Also, this is like something that if you are constantly distracted and avoiding
Mm.
trying to
I
figure,
like how you're tying it in.
you get what I'm saying? Come back.
Mhm.
If you're distracting and avoiding, figuring yourself out, understanding yourself, feeling, knowing what feels right and what feels wrong in your body, this will go right over your head, and
Right.
you will just be a person that consumes salt and is irritable all the fucking time, right? So it's something to think about. When I went through this, then it's saying like, I asked for tips on detox, and it's obviously it's like, plenty of water, stay hydrated, reduce processed foods, boost magnesium intake, which I actually have been doing. But foods like nuts and seeds and dark leafy greens have a lot of magnesium in them. They actually, it says those things can counteract the effects of sodium and stress on on the body and irritability. Potassium, which is like bananas and
Right.
avocados, sweet potatoes. Exercise regularly. The sweat, actually, you can sweat out the
Sweat it out.
salt and
Yeah.
stuff, right? And getting enough sleep. Reducing sodium can improve sleep quality. So if you do have a high sodium diet and you are having trouble sleeping,
That's something else.
that could be something to look into too. Try adaptogenic herbs, such as mushrooms and stuff like that. Lion's mane, ashwagandha.
Speaking of lion's mane, I actually have a patient who I recommended that drink Breeze to. BREZ, guys. This drink, Brez or Breeze, I have no idea how to
Breeze.
pronounce it, but they have one that has like 2,200 milligrams of lion's mane. And so this particular patient, she's just been like, like her anxiety's been, there was a lot going on, stuff like that. And she was using like, some THC and some CBD, but she didn't like the way it was making her feel, like in her head. So I was like, you need to try these drinks, Breeze. It has like a really high dose of lion's mane. Saw her yesterday, and she was like, when I tell you that it has done the job,
Yeah.
I feel relaxed. I don't feel groggy in my head. I feel just really chill. I'm not stressing. Go. If you have not tried this drink, try it. It's amazing. It's
BREZ. Yeah,
BREZ. You can get it on Amazon. I will say it's a bit pricey,
it is.
but man, it really.
I mean, I enjoy it. It's my thing too. I like the feeling of it, but recently, like, I bought a 6-pack and I've only had 2 of them, and I feel as though it's been making me like bloaty and gassy. But it might not have been from that, because I started a bunch of new things. I also started a heavy metal detox with 2 different things, and then started a new vitamin D with magnesium and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
So I've taken everything out, and I'm going to start bringing them one back in. I'm hoping the Breeze is one that I can bring back in, because it never bothered my stomach before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, carbonated drinks, are also not the best
Yeah.
for the gut, especially
Yeah.
if you have gut issues to begin with. So,
Yep. Okay, so yeah,
Alright.
just wanted to get into that because I thought that was very helpful and important to some people, because I know, like, there's a lot of sodium in everything, and there's a lot of sugar in everything, and we need to cut both of those back significantly. And I bet you, if you have mood disorders or irritability or whatever, if you just take 3 days and cut back on sodium and sugar, your life is going to change.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. I don't care if you keep drinking alcohol too, or well, the alcohol has sugar in
Alcohol's a
it too,
huge
so
thing,
you'd
yeah.
have to cut back on that. And basically, I think like our culture has so many like chemicals and things that we consume
Mhm.
that like it's hard to get to the source of like the issue because there's so many variables that are like fogging what is really going on,
Yeah.
you know? And I think diet is huge when it comes to that mental health. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
Sure. Okay.
So we were talking the other day, switching gears again.
Switching gears, yes. Well, I feel like this conversation happened now at this point like 2 weeks ago.
No, your timing is like ridiculous. We
Joe.
literally talked about this weekend. It was like,
What? No, we didn't.
yeah.
Because I had this conversation with one of my patients literally last week.
It might have been last
I brought it
weekend.
up to
It
her.
wasn't definitely not
Actually,
2 weeks ago.
I know exactly when it was.
It might not have been this weekend. It might have been the weekend before.
I don't know why you and I have to go tit for tat when it comes to time. Like, why
Because you're
can't
so
you
bad
just
with
let
it.
me? Why can't you just let me go with it and then just think in your head? Just in your head, just be like, that's not accurate. But who cares? Just let me go. You always have to come back at me about it, and then I feel like I always have to come back at you.
Because I'm
But
trying
if
to
you
make you
just-
more aware of
I'm
like your
aware.
timing.
I'm aware. It's not going to change. So
Well-
just like let it go. You do shit all the time that in my head I think to myself, sucks at reading, but whatever. You know, like I don't say anything.
I read this pretty well, I thought.
What's funny is that when you were reading that, I did think in my head, I was like, and I wanted to say something, but I was like, no, I'm not going to call him out. So I didn't.
I read it pretty well.
I was amazed actually.
Because I've been doing a lot of
actually
reading.
Read something that well.
ChatGPT is like teaching me how to read again.
You know, that was actually one of the things when I met you, like when I did hear you read something that I was like,
yeah,
especially in the beginning.
It's the dyslexia.
Because that's just it was a little bit of a slight turnoff.
Sorry.
That's okay. I had lots of turnoffs, I'm sure.
Then you realized that I was a genius and you were like,
not a genius. I just realized that you were very interesting. And I am fascinated with interesting.
Okay. Well, it all worked out.
Okay. So 2 weeks ago, we were having this conversation. I forgot how it came up. No, you were in the shower and I said to you, I want...
No, I know how it came up.
I started it.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I did. You were in the shower.
Yeah, but I was talking about something that sparked something in your brain. I was talking about...
You know that many things that you say spark things in my brain that have nothing to do with what the fuck you just said? I'm like
because I remember what I was talking about to my friends and I was relaying that to you.
What were you talking about?
I was talking, the gist of it is like, there are certain people in your life that you need to disconnect and like, you know, or try to like sort things out as much as you can, because like, and if they die, like pretend like they die. And then when really reverse it.
Yeah.
You pretend like they died today. And if you have any sort of regrets or thoughts or them, then you should say that today.
That's not what.
And then we started getting into the death thing.
No.
Okay. Well, whatever.
What did it for me was I was thinking just in my own head, and then out of nowhere I said to you, and I was like, I just want to die, but then like be with you forever after that.
Right.
And then you were like, where'd that come from? And I was like, I'm just thinking. I'm just thinking about like, just things, and you were just like, okay. And then you got into the conversation, it struck a chord. And then I was like, yeah, like I want to like, just kind of like grow old and like, I just want to be with you forever. And then I want to like die. And then we just like go into our own little,
we're in like heaven and we look down on our
and
daughter and watch her life.
And then we're watching her life and we're just like there, just like following her wherever she goes. And like, that's great. That sounds amazing to me. And then you were like, yeah, absolutely, blah, blah, blah. But then you like flipped it.
I was like, that sounds great, but that's not how energy works.
And then I was like, what do you mean? That's not
yeah.
how it works.
And then I was like, so first off, I need to preface this with my personal beliefs on how life is and energy and stuff like that. I think that this body is being there's energy coming from some source in the universe, and it's a frequency specifically to me, and this is the body that it's in currently, right? So then once this body dies, that energy continues on,
right? That's what you said to me. So I was like, okay,
in search of another body. Now we can get into that, or is that getting straying from what you want to talk about? You want to keep going with that?
no, it's the same thing, because when you said that, I was like, and then you said, so in order to do that, that means that your energy, your soul, right, that energy would have to find something else. Yeah.
Okay. So I'll keep going. So when this body dies, your specific every person has a specific frequency that they vibrate at. That's like your aura, right? And it's only for you. It's like your fingerprint. Now, I believe, and also actually where I got this idea from was Dr. Bruce Lipton. He's he was a stem cell researcher turned spiritual guru, because he realized a lot of things being a doctor for so many years and dealing with stem cells, that each cell in your body has a specific receptor, right? And specifically, we're talking about the pineal gland is receiving energy from somewhere, right? And that is what he believes is like your tuning fork. That's like the thing that your radio broadcast and you're the radio, right? So you're catching this frequency. So they have receptors on them, all your cells, right? They're vibrating at that frequency. Now, when this body dies, that is still continuing. That's still happening. That frequency is still there. It's been there since the beginning of time, and it'll be there till the end of time, right? The problem is that specific frequency no longer has this body to live in. So then it's scanning. It's scanning for new receptors, right? Or new radio. Where do you find new receptors? You find them in newborn babies, right? The baby is being created inside the woman's body. That pineal gland develops. It's a receptor for a specific frequency, and maybe it's that frequency from your body, right? Now, it attaches to that baby. All of everything that you dealt with in this lifetime gets transferred to that baby. Now it's like a new opportunity for that kid to resolve those issues. Now, this is where you connect numerology, right? That frequency is numerology. It's a memory of all the things, that lifetime that you went through, and then you get these numbers, you get these frequencies, right? And there's these new challenges that you need to resolve because you didn't resolve it in this life. Now it's that person. But there's all these other things. I know I'm like,
with it. Yeah. So
but there's environmental factors too. So it's not exactly the same. It's never going to be exactly.
It's never going to be the same, right? So when you said that to me, in all honesty, I was really like, first of all, I wasn't understanding. I was like, what do you mean? And then you explained everything you just said, and I was like, wait, so you're saying that when I die and you die, that we're not going to be together? And you were like, no, that's not what I'm saying. We are. And I was like, no. I was like, no. So you're telling, so like, I want to be with you in just, as souls floating around, just like hanging out together forever. That's the other life that I want forever. And you're like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
Not the way that we perceive it.
But we are going to be together. Like we will still
be connected.
Be connected. And I'm like, well, then how? Because in my mind, I don't want another life. I want this life. Like,
But you
I don't
probably
want another life.
you probably
I
said
want,
that many times over before.
but right in this, I want this life. This is my life. This is the life that I want. This is the life that I want to keep. I have a great daughter. I have a great husband. I have a great life. I have a great family. I have great friends. I
Probably
have great
said before.
everything.
Probably done
And
before.
I don't want, it's like when I die, I just want to let it go. And then I'm just like watching my kid. And then and then I eventually see her. And then we're
And then
watching
what?
her kids. And then
Oh,
that's
so
just
then
kind
you
of how
all
it
just
goes.
hang around in one room and just like watch,
No, we're just floating.
just floating around,
You know,
doing nothing.
so then you explain that we're like, no, we will definitely connect again, but in a different way, right? Like whether it's like a friend, and I'm like, ew, I don't want to be your friend. Like, I don't want to connect as a friend. I want to be able to have this forever. I don't want to be a different person. I don't want you to be anyone different than I want this to go forever. And the only way that'll happen is if we're just hanging out as souls or energy in just this space.
Listen, I understand what you want, but you know, energy and frequencies and physics, the quantum physics in particular, just doesn't work like that. It's just like
So
energy continues to evolve and move and attract, and that's why our energies are connected now in a way. Like,
in this way,
yeah,
this
they're
is the way that I want
attracted
it
to
to be
each other.
connected.
And your frequency, remember the universal frequency that I was talking about? Mine and yours are very close, a similar frequency. So they will always be around each other in some form.
I don't want it to be around in some form. I want it to be this form. So now
it doesn't matter what you want, though. It's like,
I know
I
it
want a
doesn't,
lot
but
of
now
things.
this is like a lot for me to digest because now I'm kind of slightly freaked out. Like, I didn't have a problem with death. I was actually very excited to get old with you and die because in my mind, we were going to get old and die and just still be together in this space.
Listen,
of energy,
I'll tell you what.
Now I'm like, well, now I'm going to die and now I'm never going to fucking see him again in the way that I want to see him. So what the fuck?
Let me tell you something. It's that moment is going to be so like overwhelming and like mind blowing. Like everything that you experience when you cross over is going to be so crazy and amazing that you will forget about this for at least a little while.
I don't want to forget about this.
I know. But
I
it's okay. It's okay.
I never want to forget about this. So this is why
But
now
this
I'm
is
like, I could fucking beat the system. We're in the Matrix, and I firmly now believe all this. Okay, I believe this. We're in the Matrix.
Maybe
we're in
we
a
can.
fucking thing. Like I'm gonna beat this. So now what I've been doing, if you've noticed, I've been staring into your eyes and I've been staring into your face because I'm trying to take now extreme amount of mental. Like I'm trying to look at all these beauty marks you have and everything, so that if and when I run into someone, right? And they say like they have the same thing on their ear, like maybe that'll trigger something in my mind and I'll be like, I feel like I've known you. Remember, actually, I feel like because when I met you, I was like, I feel like I've known you for a really long time.
Yeah,
and I've never had that feeling before.
We sat down and didn't stop talking from like 10 a.m. until like 1 p.m. Like just like
never
about
had
everything.
that feeling before. And I was like, I really know this person.
Yeah.
That was the moment.
That was it. So you did remember.
Oh my God, I did remember.
See?
And I found you. So it took so fucking long. Right. It took 37 years.
I know. It almost brings me to tears.
I almost can cry too, actually. It took 37 years to find you.
I know.
Oh my God.
I know. I was on the hunt. And I think a lot of that is because of what we were actually just talking about prior to this. There's so many distractions, so many things going on. We should have, and I've always said this, it doesn't matter when we met. It would have all worked out. We could have met when we were 20 years old or whatever. It would have worked out because of our history, because of our frequency, our energy history, right?
So then just basically then I have to I have to restructure my mind. This moment actually gave me a lot of perspective just now. It really did. Because in this moment, I now firmly believe that yes, I remembered you or something about you
Mhm.
and it clicked in that moment. And I feel like maybe we've been doing that for a long
Well, we
time.
could have been. Yeah, we could be.
So now I'll just kind of see it as like I'm excited
Right. It's a new
to
adventure.
actually see you again. I don't know when I'm gonna find you, but I fucking will.
Yep.
And
Maybe it gets
see where
sooner
that
and
goes.
sooner every time too.
37 years. That's a
Yeah.
lot. That's a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
But I had to go through everything I had to go through. So
Not necessarily.
I think I did.
Maybe.
I had a lot to work out. Clearly, in another life, I was a drug addict. We know that.
Also, you get
So I had so I brought some of that into this life, and I really had to because I could have went down that same path easily.
yeah,
But then I
everything
was like,
is the timing of everything is so precise and meant to be that you can't even comprehend it. It's like there's so many layers and variables. The way culture and society is now, yes, you and I had to go through all those fucking experiences and shit to be where we are now, to understand and connect with people in the universe and in the earth and all of these people and stuff that we talk to the way that we do, right? But in maybe another life, maybe the culture and things are different, and maybe people are more self-aware or whatever, and then maybe we can meet when we're like 10 years old or something, you know?
yeah, but there's still aspects like again going back to what you said when you were like we bring certain things. So like when that energy or that frequency right goes into that new pure body right, which is going to be a baby, and now that baby kind of has that same energy, but now kind of has to like tie loose ends or figure out things from scratch or whatever it is, right? Like so we bring things with us. So again, like there are three things that I firmly believe, and I said this to you during this conversation. Three things that I firmly believe that have been brought into this life with me.
Okay.
I don't know what it looked like before, but I know that I've brought them in this life with me because I feel it in my fucking like in my gut, like in my solar plexus, in my heart, in my crown, like everywhere, is again one. I was definitely I'm supposed to be with you for the rest of my life, in every life. Totally. Two, and I know this is gonna sound weird to people, but like I've had a really crazy past with drugs when I was younger. It could have went real wild, and I'm glad that I somehow managed to not let it go that path. But because of that, and because of these like addictive, traits that I have, I firmly believe that in another life I was a drug addict. I don't know what life it was. I don't know how it went down, but like it's like I'm like I know I was. I fucking know I was. Like I know I was, and not just any drug. Like I was like hardcore drug addict.
Yeah.
And that scares me. The other thing that I firmly believe is that in another life I did something with like helping people, because that's a huge part of my life. Like I have this huge passion of being a therapist. Like it is like I fucking love doing what I do. I mean, I love it. Like I can cry about it because it makes me so happy, So like because these three things are so intense and the feeling is so intense, I'm just completely convinced that I've brought like these things have come, and here I am now, and this is the life now with still these pieces of me in in other lives that were there, So clearly I've overcome being a drug addict.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but I still got those little things going on,
Yep.
those like addictive traits,
Yeah.
So that's there because my mom and dad don't like at all.
They don't have the addictive traits.
No.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then with the being a therapist and loving what I do and helping people, I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. Clearly, maybe I came from a life where I felt like I couldn't help, or maybe I did help a lot. I have no idea. And then just you, we're just supposed to.
Yeah, and this is why it's like important to like be aware of your surroundings and the people that are coming into your life, right? Because like you do want to try to like remember them and and just the closest thing I can think of, and this is why we watched this movie, was the Cloud Atlas.
Mm.
Is literally what I'm talking about, right?
So
It's like different. If anybody's never seen that before, it's a movie about
watch it if you haven't.
like it's like literally like watching 5 movies at the same time because they're in different what do you call it, like time zone
different time, yeah.
different time
dimension,
ranges. No, it's just like from there's one of them is like in the 1970s, and then there's another one that's in the future.
They're
and then
not just in different time ranges though. They're also different people. So
they're
they are in
different
different
physical people, but spiritually and energy wise, they're the same,
right? But
yeah,
they're different physically, completely. Like one's
completely.
a father, one's a mother.
Right.
You know, it's
Right.
like everyone.
It's exactly what I'm talking about, and how energy continues on, right? But what I was going to do is I was going to post this QR code. So this is the podcast. Actually, you should listen to it. It's Tony Robbins, but it's Bruce Lipton that's talking most of the time, and he's explaining all this in great detail,
You know
way
how I feel
further.
about Tony Robbins,
But
I'll
you don't
listen
know
to it.
yeah, it's not Tony Robbins doesn't even like talk in the whole thing. Hold on, I'll put it on. There you go, up on the corner here.
Oh, cool.
That is Tony Robbins, Bruce Lipton. Bruce Lipton explains his past with stem cell research and how he came to these understandings of the receptors of the cells and frequency and energy and how it works.
Nice.
Yeah. So check that out.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a game changer. I mean, there's a lot of things that even got me to this point of even like listening to that podcast and connecting the dots. I mean, a lot of it was Alan Watts really started getting me thinking outside of the box of like who are we? What is this? This is like what is energy, and like how does it flow and move and work and interact with things, right? And it's not, everybody's like sad about things but I'm excited, just like you explained it before, like dying. You got to be excited because like if you believe everything that we're talking about, and Bruce Lipton is a doctor that kind of like connects the clinical and spiritual, which is what we're always trying to do, right? And he gets it, and he can kind of connect the dots for you. So if you understand all that stuff, then it becomes this very exciting new journey of like almost not trying to recreate, because it can never be exactly the same.
Right.
But maybe I feel like that energy is trying to like bring all these frequencies together. It's just like attracting. It's like a magnet, right? And we're meant to be in flow with certain people or energies or whatever. And then we're trying to like find this like perfect ideal situation that's never going to be, but it's always an amazing journey. And then you connect that with my shroom trip where I basically died and went to outer space, and that was like my realization that like, okay, so like once you die, it's not over. Like there's all it's actually just beginning. There's like so much shit.
What is that show that we watched on Netflix with, damn it, man, the chick from Orange is the New Black? She's got red curly hair and she's like such a typical New Yorker. But it was like
getting back to shows again. Ugh.
No, but it has to do with this. She would like, remember, she would like die but then come back.
Oh yeah, that was it was close. It was a little over exaggerated, I think.
Well, because in that situation, she would die and she would come back, but she was coming back to the same life.
Same situation.
And then she had to like figure out what she had to change.
Which I don't think that's realistic, because energy never stays the same.
but but then in the second season, I believe it started switching.
Mm.
And she was then
Doing
like
something
going
different,
into
yeah.
like she was going to like when she was a kid and
Didn't they
then going to like
discontinue that?
yeah, I don't know why.
Which
And they also
you never even know what the
discontinued
fuck the end is.
right. We never even finished the second season. We
We
should.
didn't?
And
Why?
no, because I think it got so much.
Oh, it was too crazy.
But I feel like we should actually finish that.
All right, let's try it out again.
Yeah. And then lastly, and then we do have to wrap up, but the last one that I think you and I both watched that I'm so pissed they discontinued because that show was fucking epic. The OA.
Oh, OA, yeah.
The OA.
That was a well, not similar. It was in the realm.
It was in the realm.
Yeah.
If you have not seen the OA on Netflix, you need to watch that show. It's incredible.
Yeah. It's in the realm of energy transfer.
Dimensions. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's focused on dimensions for sure.
Yeah.
But then there was but then what wasn't it weird because it was like focused on dimensions, right?
Mhm.
But then you also had that other part of it, which was the guy who like kept them in the basement.
Because he knew what was going on.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was there. And he was like all creepy and stuff like that. So he was like keeping them in there. There was a whole thing going on with that.
Yeah. Now that I think about it, I mean,
and then the dancing, the ritualistic movements they were doing, it got wild, but it's a great show.
Now that I think about it, it could have something to do with like if you're not vibrating at a certain frequency, you can't attract those things that you might need in your life, right? So then
do you think the movements were like
that could be part of it, but it's also like just like your mentality and the way just your frequency in general and like getting it tuned in properly. And then maybe you can see other things and receive other messages that like you're supposed to be getting, but you're not getting it because you're distracted into TVs and whatever the fuck you're fucking doing all the time.
Do you know what I'm starting to think now? Is I'm starting to think that one, we're onto something, and I'm convinced now, but also that oh man, I hate sounding like you, but the government or whoever, right? They know what's going on.
They could be that guy.
You know why?
That guy, you know.
Because if you think about it, every show that comes out that's about some kind of dimension, energy, whatever thing gets discontinued.
I know. It's kind of like it
doesn't come back.
It's like the healthy food at the grocery store disappears because like we're the only ones buying it or something.
Right. You know, so they're like, no, this is like way too close to home. We don't want them getting any ideas here.
Yeah.
Let's take it off because they have to stay completely in this lack of insight place. Like they can't know anything. But the OA, gone. The one with the other girl, gone. Fucking, you know, I mean, any move like okay, they did the Cloud Atlas, which was nuts. I'm surprised they even let people
Tom
watch
Hanks was
that
in
movie.
that.
But it's
you know why they let it go? Because it is I had to watch it a couple times to really wrap my head around it. You know, it's like not one of those movies you watch the first time and
it's deep.
You get to the end of it and you're like, I kind of get it, but I don't really know, you know.
That's like that Leonardo DiCaprio one too.
Yeah, Inception. That's another one I had to watch like 3 times, and I'm still kind of like, I'm not really sure. Matrix, that's another one, and sometimes you got to watch a few times before you really get it.
The Matrix.
So I think they let them out there. Whatever. If we're talking about conspiracies, if that was a thing, then I would assume that they would allow those because they're so deep and complicated that they know that the majority of people are not going to like Cloud Atlas was not like some award-winning film.
It should have been.
It should have been. It definitely should have been. But I don't believe that it was.
Wait, was it not? Maybe it was actually. We might be speaking too soon.
Yeah, look it up.
Because it was actually pretty fascinating. Let's see.
If it was, it would be weird. I mean, Tom Hanks is in it.
Cloud Atlas.
And Drew what's her
nominated.
name? What the fuck's that chick's name?
For
Barry.
Drew Barrymore?
No. The other one.
Hold on. Yes, Cloud Atlas was nominated for many awards, including Golden Globes, Saturn, and Critics' Choice Award.
But didn't win.
Nominated for Best Original Score.
But never won.
Nominated. It was never won. Wait, and won for it received several nominations in
for
the
the
Saturn.
makeup.
It won for best editing and best makeup.
The makeup was amazing because like there was the same
It was the
actor,
same actor.
but like you didn't know that
You
it
had
was them.
no idea that it was them.
Yeah.
And that was in 2012, 2000, you know?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
But of course, yeah. See, it's not nominated for like
It's too much to win.
Yeah, the storyline or
The
something.
storyline's amazing. All right.
Yep. But it's one of those things that maybe you have to be vibrating a certain frequency to even like get some of that stuff. I don't know.
Oh, so interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is like we could do like a freaking 2-day long podcast on this type of shit. It's like keep going.
This is
on
the
and
stuff
on.
that gets me going.
Really?
Yeah.
This is the stuff that me and David talk about on our frequency pod.
No, you guys are like boring talking about stuff. You're like,
Right. This is what we talk about. This is the shit that we talk about for hours.
Yeah,
days.
but there's no like oomph to it when you guys talk about it.
Whatever. You don't even know.
All right, we're gonna wrap up for today. I hope you guys have a great rest of the weekend. If you are somewhere up north, stay warm.
Mhm.
And if you are in the south and places that are hot and wonderful, then I love
Enjoy.
that for you. I love that for you. And you know what I hope? I hope that you really don't take that for granted, because I did. I took it for granted. I mean, I lived in South Florida for fucking 20 something years, and I think I went to the beach 10 times.
Yo, I love how like this. Let's just see everybody pay attention, right? As the podcasts go on through the winter here, we're in like the middle of February, right? And it's slowly, like I said last month, because you were just like, I'm all about this like cold thing.
I'm fine
and
still. What are you
right?
talking about?
But it starts creeping in. I'm telling you.
I'm not letting it.
I know you're not letting it, and that's why. But the language and the things that you talk about being cold and all this other stuff.
Because it's fucking cold. But I will say though, when I take Cash out for a walk in the morning, when it's snow outside and all of that, and I breathe in the crisp cold air, I can't do that in South Florida. I breathe in fucking humidity, and then I feel like I can't even take a breath. Out here though, I'm like, and I love breathing when it's cold.
Yeah.
It helps with my anxiety. I love it.
Just saying that it's
all about mindset.
I don't know. I just don't know why you just don't admit that. Like, yes, there was a significant period of time up here where it is cold and not fun and it sucks.
We need to
take breaks from it.
I am admitting that there is a significant time up here from February to freaking, for me, this will
like
go
May,
until June.
basically.
Okay, yeah, February until June. Where yes, it is really ridiculous and it's cold. However, mentally, I'm not allowing it to get interfere with like my mood,
and that's what's important. That's
anything like that. I'm just like, you know what? What's the beauty of this? Yes. And that's what I'm trying to see. And when I go outside and there's snow all on the trees and snow on the ground, and our neighborhood looks like a winter wonderland, it's so gorgeous. And those are the moments where I'm like, you know what? Like, this is great.
Yeah. That's what shifted in you too.
Yeah.
Being able to like focus on the positive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, it's cold, no doubt. But I mean, like, it's still like beautiful and cozy, and
because everything is there for you. You can create whatever world you want. Like you can focus on the negative and everything will be shitty and cold and crappy. But you can also focus on the positive,
right?
About how beautiful it is and how you can take deep breaths and all this other stuff. And like, that's a huge, just easy shift for people to make that, I don't know. Sometimes people don't, I guess, because maybe everybody that they're surrounded with, and that's the vibration that I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I mean, and this takes time, obviously. We're talking about like, having to like change a way of thinking that you've been thinking for a long time. So I wasn't always like this. I wasn't always able to see the positives of something, but now I'm like, oh my God, it's just so gorgeous. And then I think about everything else, right? I'm like, okay, well, my kid is healthy. Side note, when is she going to the doctor next week?
Next week, yeah.
Thank God. We got to figure out these I showed them the
I know.
bums because
I
she's got a
know.
lot of them.
Going to the Biomed Center.
Biomed Center
In
in Providence. If anyone doesn't know about it and you're in Rhode Island, check it out.
It's like a holistic functional medicine thing. They do all
Everything.
anything you can think of. They have IV drips and they do like the heavy metal test, the gut biome test,
Do it all.
anything you can think of. All that stuff that your normal doctor they don't even know that it's possible.
No.
This place will do it.
Oh, they know it's possible.
Well, I mean, yeah,
They're just not doing it.
They're not getting paid to do it by the insurance company, so they don't offer it to you.
Speaking of insurance company, you know Luigi Mangione.
I thought we were ending it.
We are going to end, but you know that this guy, people have raised $350,000 for his lawyer fees on GoFundMe. $350,000.
Well, that'll pay for a couple days.
But like, they're still raising money.
Right.
They're still raising money.
Well, I have a feeling we won't hear from this guy ever again. It was another distraction from something.
We're going to hear about him when it comes back to trial time, and then it's going to be all over the place. But they needed a break because it was too much.
Whatever.
Right.
Anyways, don't listen to the media. And
yeah, don't listen
to Keanvenient Truth.
Don't listen to the news. No news. I don't care who it is. I don't care what news it is. I don't care if it's independent. I don't care if it's this, that shit. I don't care. News, it's not really.
Yeah, once again,
doing great things. Now, if
gotta get back to yourself.
If the news was talking about positive things all the time that are actually going on in the world, because I know that those things exist.
Bro, I have determined that is also does the exact same thing
in another way.
It's in the same way. It's just like I guess it's like just like a different vibration.
Now
but
what
like,
it's doing is it's just sending nothing but positive.
Right, and you're still distracting yourself from actually doing what you need to do for yourself and your well-being and your family and whatever.
I don't think that's the case. I think that for me, it's more of like, okay, so if the negative is coming out, right, and people are jumping on to the negative, right, that means that they're only focused on the negative, which therefore then is dictating their mood, their thought process, everything.
Right.
If everything's focused on positive, though, that means that everybody's thought process will, in fact, actually end up being positive and focusing on that. What that does, though, is it can create a mask.
Yes, it's too far one side.
Too far, right? So now we have two polar opposite extremes, right?
Yeah, everything's great. The news says everything's great,
wonderful.
even though inside I feel like
we
shit.
Have no idea, right? Yeah. This is kind of why for me, do I think it's scary that there's like, now people like walking just down the street with fucking KKK clothes and the flag.
In one little town with 10 KKK people.
Though, at the same time, I actually would much rather that be happening. You know why? Because now I know who I see in front of me. Now I see you. Thank you for showing me. And now I will not enter your space. And I'll just continue to hang out over here while you do your thing over there. Versus, I don't know it. And I stumble upon it thinking that you're not it.
You pretend.
And then something happens. But now I know. I see you wearing the fucking black thing.
At the end of the day, yes, a balance is necessary. I don't think media will ever really get it right.
No.
That's why I think it's great that there's like thousands of different podcasts. And I mean, I personally listen to probably 20 different podcasts on a regular basis. And they're all talking about different things, from anything from health to, politics to
Soul has to go
whatever.
To dance.
She does. Yes. I have to leave right now. But anyways, I think that's a better way to get a balance than to just turn on the 6 o'clock news every single night, the same channel nonstop every single day. That's a problem. I don't care whether it's Fox or CNN or MSNBC. It doesn't fucking matter. Even if you were only listening to us, I would be annoyed with you.
Wouldn't be good.
It wouldn't be good. Yeah, you don't want to just think like we do all the time.
No, don't be a zombie.
Right.
All right, everyone. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you all soon.
See you.